Okay, and I'm gonna go into Instagram because I gotta get that live. We are live on right now Facebook and YouTube. We're waiting for the Instagram. There we go. Instagram.
There it is.
Let me turn off the volume here so I don't hear myself here. And we are going to start with the intro of Chronoz Show and into the main one.
Goodbye, everyone!
Thank you for that, Jonathan.
Thunder, 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 Thundercats! Ho!
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Try to make your dreams come true, because if you don't, you certainly won't. And if you do, you just might. Keep your dreams exciting. Keep them interesting. Keep them. Try to make them different. Try to make sure that your dreams aren't the same as everybody else's dreams. If you're dreaming what somebody else already dreamed, why bother? Dream something special for yourself. And And don't give up.
Yo, 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 and welcome to the Chronoz Show. My name is Chronoz, and I'm very excited today for this episode. I'm thinking, what episode are we in? I'll remember that later. So, let's start off with what's going on. Jonathan Martinez, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. It's so good to be here.
And DJ Game Studios.
Hey, great to be here. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
And our special guest here, who's known for many movies in terms of his work, digital effects, or fabrications, and Army of Darkness, Men in Black, Dune from '84, Jurassic Park, Jackass, SpongeBob, Spider-Man, Ghostbusters '84 as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and his other works, Ghostbusters, Closed Empire. I'm kind of geeking out right now. I want to introduce Billy Bryan. What's going on? How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing very good, very good. Just here and having you on here, and I appreciate your time for give us the experience with you. So we have some questions for you. I'll start off with my main question, and then we'll go on with Jonathan and then DJ Game Studios. Either way, I hope you guys are doing well. So let's start off. Can you tell us your backstory on your inspiration into having such an imagination that led you to become a master creature fabricator working with special effects?
How did I come up with an imagination?
Well, your inspiration. How?
Is that obvious? I grew up in a family full of kids with very creative mom and dad. There was music in the house all the time. Dad sang opera and painted and drew, and he was a photographer and an aeronautic engineer, which supplied the bucks to raise 7 kids in Massachusetts, Bedford, Mass. We had a house on a hill in the woods, so I'm a hillbilly, I guess you could say. And let's see. Yeah, we were just always making stuff. I remember going to art museums with the whole family, and then when we'd get back, we would set up our own art museum. Maybe a clothesline in the backyard and hang our pieces, whatever we did most recently, clothespin them to the line or whatever. I remember one day when I was a kid, we started sewing up the characters from Winnie the Pooh. I ended up doing Eeyore. I learned a lot about pattern making that day. I remember because I sewed up. I cut out 2 Eeyore shapes, which seemed that would be fine. I sewed them together and realized I only had 2 legs.
Right. I was going to say 2 legs, not 4.
And so, I ended up sticking a couple extra legs on the side, but, that wasn't quite how I wanted it to look. So, it made me think it through and figure out how the centerpiece could have provided the other side of each of those legs and all that. So, we made a lot of stuff when we were kids. And then, I saw a show on TV when I was in high school. It was called Muppets on Puppets. And Jim Henson and Frank Oz showed how to make a variety of types of puppet. And the last one they showed was the Muppet. And I saw that, and I happened to have some 1-inch foam. Actually, they were cushion stuffers. My grandmother hooked rugs and hooked covers for these cushions.
Yeah.
And so we had a couple of circles of 1-inch foam, and I cut one of them up, and using a game board, I cut used that as the palette of the mouth and glued it down to it, and then had myself a nice, round-headed Muppet, and then covered it with the fleece from the inside lining of a jacket, which made a perfect the perfect little, I don't know, some kind of fleecy creature. And yeah, my mom's best friend said, "Oh, you make puppets. Can you put on a show for my kids next week?" And I said, "Sure." Oh, she said, "I'll pay you $5." And so, yeah, definitely. and so, you know, that's what I did. The family threw in ideas while I was building puppets. You know, concepts were just flying at me, and I assembled them into a sort of a fractured fairy tale kind of a show in which what was Cinderella, I think, kissed a frog, and he turned into Ernie or sort of thing.
Hey, why not? I'd watch that.
and then anyway, and I did the show. I guess I was in 10th or 11th grade. Of course, that week was also midterms week, so my report card wasn't as good as it might have been. And I remember my dad saying to me, "Oh, great. So you're going to be a puppeteer for the rest of your life?" Okay.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Let me go into Jonathan. Do you have a question for Billy?
Well, Billy, if I was going to ask you this, tell us about your portrayal of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. What was like inside of that suit?
Okay. Well, the suit was pretty comfortable. It was made out of soft and harder foam. The kind of like this is. The head was fiberglass inside and foam latex from a mold on the outside. But the body, I had built it much as I built this new one out of these couple of different types of foam. Yes, it was hot, of course. They're all insulation material, so you know, and I'm closed off from the outside world, except the mouth was right in front of my face. And when I flapped my arms, it acted like a bellows, and I got fresh air in and out through the mouth. So that helped keep me cooler. But you have to be careful there. If you do too much flapping, you start sweating. So, you have to choose. Do I do it a little bit for the air or a lot, and anyway, and heat myself up.
Right.
Portraying, well, for instance, the suit was comfortable and it followed me very well. I mean, my feet were in the feet, my hands were in the hands, and so as I moved, it moved. And John Bruno had suggested a double bounce to the walk, kind of like Disney animators intentionally draw into some of their, when a ball bounces, you get wow before it goes up again. And so we wanted to try to hit that a little bit. And the speed of the walk had to be appropriate for the size. They slowed it down, which meant that they shot it fast. They overcranked it. And then when they showed it, then it looked slower. And so I just had a sort of a boom, boom, boom going on inside my head that then they say, we wanted a little faster. Well, then I just go boom, 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 or slower, boom, boom. It wasn't
like
exactly mathematical.
That's awesome.
That's so great.
That was very impressive.
Jonathan, do you have another question?
Oh yeah, and another question is that how much does the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man suit cost?
Oh, well, let's see. We made, I think we made 8 of them, and that was over the course. I was on the show for about 6 months, how much would they cost? They're probably 20 or so thousand each. You know, if you wanted to buy one from me, I'm not cheap personally, especially now. You know, I've got some inside information on how to make them, which actually I intend to do some little lessons that my son and I are going to shoot very soon, and
Awesome.
we'll release them on Patreon. So, because I don't want to do it for free. Sorry,
Make that
sorry,
money.
folks.
Make that money.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I haven't figured out how many there will be, how many lessons, but it should be interesting and fun. I try, even if I tried to just make it cut and dried, I'm gonna end up telling stories anyway, just because that's what I do. So
Awesome. I wanted to first say real quick in the description down below that you see on Facebook and YouTube. There was a video I did watch, was the Stan Winston school video that you did. It was an amazing video and I loved it. So it's in the description for those who want to catch up on some more information with Billy Bryan. I love that, and you guys can click on that. It's in the
it was
description.
called Making a Monster, right?
Yes.
That was the one where Steve Johnson and I talked about plastic bags.
Oh yeah, it's a great interview that I enjoyed, and I wanted to make sure I credited that because I used I even took a footage piece from there, and you got to credit him the whole video's there, so people can get in touch with that. Also, your link to your cameo, so you do cameos as well. So you guys can click on there if you want to do a cameo for your holiday or birthday or something like that. So you can get the Billy Bryan for that too. So click on that right below in the description, so you guys all know that.
I'll usually I'll talk, but I'll also bring my little buddy in here so that he can express some well wishes for you.
Oh yeah, that's very nice. I did watch some of those videos, so that way I think I'm going to be getting one of those for myself soon. So
cool.
So others can to get that for themselves too as well. Let me see. Do I have anything in the comments? Okay, we got this guy.
For all you YouTubers and Instagram people, all that, you could use his cameos for intros and outros too. Another great way to get a cameo.
His kid said, his Michael says he's heard a film theory, Diddy theory on Marshmallow Man. It's very light and contains so much sugar.
Yeah. I did see something where somebody tried to figure out how many calories it probably contained. And actually, for Christmas, and the reason that I built this suit, a friend of mine, his name's Mike Gurley, he's in a band called Dada. I don't know if you remember Dada. They had a hit song called I'm Going to Disneyland. Anyway, Mike he asked me if I had a suit because he was doing a Christmas show. He'd written a bunch of new classic Christmas songs, and he wanted to know if I'd be interested in letting them either use a suit or me portraying it. I ended up stepping out on stage and singing a Marshmallow Man song for him. I've been doing some parodies of famous songs recently that I like to sing. Like I may have mentioned, maybe it was before we went live, but I was at a tiki bar last night singing some karaoke. And one of the songs I like to do is the Stay Puft Strut, which is obviously the stray cat strut with new words. I mean, imagine Marshmallow Stay Puft stepping on a church. Ooh, Winston got a little piece of the merch. Ooh, and it goes on from there. But he didn't want to use. Mike didn't want to use somebody else's music. He decided he would write his own, and so we did one. It was actually, it's sort of like where that one goes dum 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 dum. He did dum 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 dum. I'm a Marshmallow Man, big and round, here to rampage through your town. Better run as fast as you can. I'm the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And on and on like that.
Beautiful.
awesome.
Let's see. And so when I put that suit together, and actually this was the head for it. I can still put the head on, but I can't see out the mouth anymore because I put a puppet mechanism, little sort of like a catcher's glove, catcher's mitt in the mouth, so that he could talk. You know. And,
Oh man, that's awesome.
More fun
That's
that
so
way,
cool.
right? Preaching over there. I should, yeah. Anyway.
All right. DJ Game Studios, you want to have? You got a question for us?
Well, first I'm thinking. Now I'm thinking of karaoke songs. I'm like, around Christmas, you could do Dean Martin's "It's a Marshmallow World" in the. You know, you could really go anywhere with that.
You're right. In fact, that was when Mike Gurley asked me if I wanted to. That was the first one he brought up.
Yeah,
and
so great.
And I was willing, but then he decided he didn't want to do somebody else's tune, so
Right.
wrote his own. Anyway, yeah, I also do Call Me Bill. You know, Marshmallow Man walking down the street says, "Why am I soft in the middle now? Why am I soft in the middle when I should have been J. Edgar Hoover? I'm selling photo opportunities. I get a lot of attention. How'd I end up a cartoon at a monster convention? Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters."
Oh yeah, that's catchy.
And then it goes on. "I will be your Gozer God. You can be my longtime fan. You can call me Billy or Stay Puft when you call me the Marshmallow Man." And it goes on from there.
Oh my God, I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that one. So I gotta ask this because I was reading through some of your bio and just it's so interesting because I'm so into puppets. Jim Henson, huge fan. People that have the creativity, like you were saying earlier, just to make a puppet and to just make something come to life, something physical on screen. I absolutely love that. So I got to know you made a banana costume for Elton John's tour. How did this come about, and what was this costume all about?
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't see it on tour, or I'm not sure if Elton wore it or somebody else.
Oh, okay.
But it was when I first got to town. It was the first job I had. I hitchhiked across the country and I hopped freight to get to California. And when I got here, I still had no vehicle, but I had some names. Well, Dick Tufeld, who was the voice of the Lost in Space robot, was
very cool.
the fellow who suggested that I go west, young man. And because at Syracuse, his son had asked me if I could build a plant costume for a plant food commercial that they were doing for a class. And so I did. Dick was visiting Bruce. He was in the control booth when they shot the commercial. And so then the director afterwards went running in and said, "Well, what do you think, Mr. Tufeld? Is there a place for me in Hollywood?" And he said, "No, but there's a place for the guy that made that costume." So I heard about that a couple days later at a party, and I thought, wait a second, maybe I don't have to be an impoverished silversmith for the rest of my life on Cape Cod or somewhere. And so I wrote him a letter, and eventually he gave me a call, my first cross-country phone call, and he said, "Yeah, I think that you could do well over here in Hollywood." And so I went, as soon as I graduated, I collected a few dollars, a small nest egg, and then I climbed aboard my bicentennial rocket thumb. It was 1976, and across the country I went. Ran out of rides in Grand Junction, Colorado, and I was on my way into town to grab a bus ticket and finish the trip when a couple of guys that were also hitchhiking said, "Hey, come with us. We're on our way to the freight yards. We'll show you how." And so we hopped the freight, and it took us to Salt Lake City, and then got on another one that took me. I got out in Sacramento because I was told that if I got all the way down to Stockton, Stockton freight yards apparently used to be run by the bohos, but they'd hired a bunch of bulls, as they called the cops, the railroad police, and they would come around and beat up anybody they found in the boxcars. So I got stuck my thumb out again and headed down the 5 and got to Los Angeles.
Wow!
And
amazing.
so when I got there, here, I called Dick and told him I was in town. He said, "Oh, that's great. Hey, why don't you come up to dinner?" His cousin, who was an NFL player, was in town, and they were having a big family dinner, and so I was invited to join them. And while there, we talked about what my possibilities were, and he said he would talk to some people, and he stuck his head in at CBS, where in the wardrobe department, he was doing some kind of announcements as a voice actor, and he told Judy Corbett, who was the head of wardrobe at the time, that he knew a guy who did what I do, and she said, "Send him in." So I called. I hitchhiked in, and then she told me, she gave me, she said, "I don't have work for you now, but maybe Kelly Kimball over there at NBC might have a job for you. And here's her number. And maybe Tommy O'Neill at Fantasy Fair, but I don't have his number." So I thanked her. I went outside in front of CBS, stuck my thumb out, and a little red sunbeam, just like Maxwell Smart's car, pulled up. There was a guy driving it who did have Tommy O'Neill's number. And so I called Tommy, and that was where I went to work. And the first job he had me do was build a banana costume for Elton John.
Awesome.
I'm trying to find the photo.
I thought you were going to say you missed it by that much, but no, you went all the way. I had to throw that in. I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
No, that is awesome. That is so cool. I just
would you believe?
Yeah. I wanted to go back just really quick on the Stay Puft suit, because I know people just love that, and I do as well. Seeing that for the first time, I thought that visual was terrifying. I know it's supposed to be happy, but the very first to see a giant happy marshmallow crushing people. Now, I was born in 75, so I was probably 9 or 10 at the time, I guess, when that came out.
Right. So
I'm almost 50 now, and I still think that's a terrifying. I love it. It's one of my favorites. But I just, something about the smile in the eyes, and then he looks down like, "Oh, I'm crushing people. That makes me happy," But I noticed how great that suit was. I don't see a darn seam on anything. Like, it looks like a real marshmallow. So was there different versions where there was like a seam on the back or the front, or to where they were shot differently? You
figured it out. The final layer of foam was stretched to go past the horizon. So, for a front view suit, the seams were right about here. For a side view suit, they'd be on the other side, and we rotate the arms and legs appropriately, so their seams were off camera. There was a little tricky. The head actually was made in a mold, so it did have a seam, but with careful sanding, you can take it down and paint it over. But it's such a smooth shape; it's really hard to hide a seam. The hat was also cast, and so it had a seam. But the hat band, the blue had been flocked, so any seam was covered. But for a side view shot, I would cut the top of the hat off right here and rotate it 90 degrees so that the seam ended up being parallel to the frame. And disappearing that way.
But it holds up so well, sir. Like, it holds up so well. Like, that to me is some of the best practical effects I've ever seen done on that type of scale. I mean, in 1984, I mean, that looks like something that they would do CGI with now.
Yeah, nowadays a whole lot of it.
Right.
And it doesn't look as good when you physically have something there. You can tell that that's there, you know. And I always appreciate it. But anyways, Chronoz, go ahead.
Also, actually, let me tell you that the one reason that it works so well is the foam isn't painted. It's just white foam. And it's white 100 pore per inch reticulated Scott foam is one of the brand names. That's what we were calling it. It's the same stuff, the black stipple sponge when you want to, I don't know.
Yeah, for like makeup,
Right. But that's about 10 or 20 pores per inch. And the 100 pore is more like this super soft, which is, by the way, cheaper than the 100 pore white. But because it wasn't painted, well, here I can show you what happens. As soon as you put a layer on top of the foam, it wrinkles.
Yeah.
Whereas the raw foam itself, it can bend a lot more before it actually wrinkles. So that's one of the reasons that it works so well. But we had to keep it inside big black plastic bags because it would yellow and eventually not look like marshmallow. At least not untoasted marshmallow.
Yeah. That's so great, man.
All right, let's see. Jonathan, you have another question?
Well, yeah, sure. And Billy, I was going to ask you, is this that how tall is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in the film?
You know, it's funny that number. We arrived at that through averaging. It was said 100. It was said 125 feet tall. So we ended up saying, let's call it 112 and a half. And that way, you know, it's split it in the up the middle. The song that I sang in the Christmas show I mentioned earlier, one of the lines is it's not my fault if I weigh 10 tons and stand 112 feet tall, because I was going to say 112 and a half feet tall, but he didn't want the extra syllables in the song. And I figured, hey, it's been 40 years. I know I'm shorter than I was, so he's bound to be as well.
That's so great.
Jonathan, is that the only question you have, or?
And also in the film, it was what happens when the Ghostbusters shoots and before the Marshmallow Man became the fire, and how did it happen when the fire comes in the suit?
Well, I'm fortunate that instead of getting into a suit that they then lit on fire, they hired a stuntman, Tony Cesare, who he's done a lot of burns, Chucky and Thing, and just anytime you see somebody stumbling around for a nice long burn, it's probably Tony. At least back then. I'm not sure who's doing them now, but yeah, he was. He's still around and hasn't burned up yet.
Thank God.
But a fellow named Jim Viscoso, may he rest in peace, was the pyro guy. He was working under. Come on, it'll come to me. Thane Morris at Boss Films. Thane, who also, in fact, Jim and Thane both, they blew up the Death Star, for instance, you know, busy fellas. And so what Jim had done was for like the first time when they blast Stay Puft, it's a back view suit, or let's see. No, anyway, for the ones where you can't see what's going on in front, they looked like little cigarette butts almost. They were little rocket launchers, paper actually, like firecrackers without the end. And it had a little black powder and a little bit of strontium, because strontium burns red. And so all these little flaming rockets are being tossed out by the black powder going off, and that way you see it looks like more than just burning. It looks like proton wands are activating.
We're frying you up.
There was also a rubber cement squirted on it and lit, and so that flames as well. So yeah, it was a nasty smell, I'll have to admit. You burn urethane foam, and it quickly becomes worthless, and worse than that. Anyway, went into the trash very quickly.
Yep. Let's see. There was, what was it? Here, there was a part where it looks like Stay Puft, he appeared towards later in the film. There was, I think, originally where he was going to be coming out earlier in the film, where he's supposed to be coming out of, what was it? Was it the let me see if I got this real quick. Let me go right to it.
I didn't know this.
Crawling out of the river early in the movie. That were you going to do that? Were you come out of the river with
No, by the time I was hired, the script was pretty well locked. What you're describing was in the first version that Dan wrote and submitted. There were elements in space. There was all over the place, and both the Statue of Liberty and Stay Puft walked New York in that first version. Then Harold was given the task of bringing it down to a shootable size, and so he wrote that version. And he always wrote well for for Bill Murray's voice. When I first read the script, I read all the parts in Bill's voice in my head because I knew it was going to be funny. I knew he would add a lot to it. So, that way, shit, I've lost my train of thought.
I do that all the time. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
where oh yes, the river. Yeah. So I'm happy to say that I did not have to climb into the water in a full foam costume.
That would have been crazy.
It would have sucked up all the water.
Right. I was gonna say you'd be heavy.
Actually, the L200 on the inside, this stuff here is actually flotation foam, and so it would have tried to maintain its buoyancy, but
it would have been very hard.
It probably would have been scary.
I did want to touch base on your works within, was it lead fabricator in Frozen Empire?
Yes.
Now, this scene, Ray, I want to play this real quick. Can you tell us about this?
Okay. It's in the opening scene, actually. The what do they call it? A sewer dragon or something?
Yes.
And I was asked to make a practical version just to let them see what it might look like and give them something to CG from. Who's Letty?
She usually appears. Saturn LAETITIA. She usually appears with us on the show. She couldn't show up today. She was busy.
Oh well. Hi, Letty.
She's geeking out because you worked on Army of Darkness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was. I was surprised at its popularity.
Oh yeah, cult classic now for sure.
Like that. One time, I think it was a few years after it came out. I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was in '87 actually, and it was probably maybe 10 years later. Well, anyway, sometime in the '90s, that we went back to Syracuse, where I went to school, to show my kids where Mom and Dad met. And so we went to the Red House, it had originally been a white house until the night before classes in '73. We painted it red, like you do. And so we arrived there, knocked on the door. They opened it, and I told them, that I had lived there and that I'd played the Marshmallow Man. They were, oh, that's cool. And then we went inside, went up the stairs, looking at the various rooms, and in one of the rooms, they closed the door, and on the back of the door was an Army of Darkness poster, and I said, "Oh yeah, I was in that too." And they got down on their hands and knees and said, "We are not worthy."
There you go.
So yeah, I was surprised.
Cool. Let's see. Tell us about this little guy.
Oh, okay. Well, also for Frozen Empire, we were messing with some little bits. I mean, at Arjen Tweeten's studio, where Arjen had done the effects for Afterlife, and so he thought, well, he got to be really good friends with Jason Reitman, and so when the show went to shoot in England instead of in the U.S. Because England offered some kind of tax incentives, they didn't really want to hire anybody from the U.S., but Jason had already promised some work for Arjen, and so Arjen hired me. He's a Ghostbusters geek, and I'm part of his Ghostbusters collection, sort of.
There you go.
It's sort of that, and also because I'm pretty good at what I do. So now we weren't sure exactly what all was going to be in the film, and what was going to be practical and what was going to be CG. So when first he showed us the dragon, and so I made one of those out of plastic bags. Well, actually, I think I'm going to post also on Instagram the making of images for that. I think it might be a popular little reel.
Yeah.
It's kind of strangely simple how to do it. It's like with a soldering iron and 2 layers of plastic and a piece of paper over the top, and you draw the form that you want with the soldering iron, and then peel it off like a sticker, and you can blow it up, and you can have a little sewer dragon, or in this case, then tucked a little a plastic head inside. I'm trying to remember what the plastic was, but and put a rod on it and drag it through the water and move it interestingly, and the water and the plastic just they treat each other very nicely.
Yeah, it
And
looks
so-
real. Yeah, I mean, it is real. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So the little mini Puft there dancing was one that they had also sculpted and cast, and I cleaned it up a little bit, although I can still see some seams under the arms, and and painted, a little bit of paint on it just to finish it up a bit, and then I just stuck it to a board and put little wires in its arms and did a little dance with it. It was kind of fun. Similar, actually. Why don't you put up the baggy ghost as well?
The bags, right?
There you go. So there is spoiler alert.
Right. Yeah, right. It is really.
But there is a creature called the Possessor that can appear as any kind of thing that it encounters. And we weren't sure exactly what they wanted it to look like, so I gave them a few suggestions, including having the eyes as cups. They didn't end up with any eyes on it. And even the mouth, I thought, hey, this could be interesting, depending on what all it has to do. And so I put that one together and then put it away because they didn't,
I thought it was toilet paper or something, but there were cups? Okay.
Yeah. But Gil and Jason did come over, and we got to talk about them a little bit. If you look on Instagram, you'll see a couple of stills of us yammering about it, and so that was fun. There was even a cupcake. I made a little foam cupcake with that I puppeteered. Maybe I'll post that soon too.
Oh, that's cool.
It ended up being the pizza, if you remember, that Slimer
right.
Oops, spoiler.
Another spoiler, guys.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler
alert.
No spoiler.
Such a
Real
great
quick,
movie too. Such a
His
great movie.
Instagram is also in the description. You'll find Billy Bryan's Instagram there as well. Again, with the video from Stan Winston School and his cameo. Just a reminder.
Yeah, and also, although it's been, what has it been, about 8? I guess it's been 8 years since I put it together. But on YouTube, if you go to Bill Bryan's resume rap video, the apostrophe is not necessary, and the video isn't even necessary. But I mean the word video. And when it comes up, the thumbnail is of the Hollywood sign, because the middle verse has a quick look at the Hollywood sign, and that's what showed up as the thumbnail. So when you put in Bill Bryan's BRYANS resume rap, RAP, not WRAP, and when you see that Hollywood sign, you'll know you have the right one. And it's kind of a joke song. I went to Japan in 2016 when the Answer the Call movie came out. Somebody had a fellow named Dr. Abi Masahiro saw a picture of me getting out of the suit, and he said, "Wait, I don't know about this." So he contacted me on Facebook, and he said, "Would you be interested in coming to Japan?" And so I thought, yes. At first I said, I'm going to have to bring my agent, and I got no response to that. But finally I said, actually, it's my girlfriend. She said, "Oh, yeah, sure, fine. Bring her along." And so we went to Japan, and at a movie theater, they were going to have a screening of the new movie. And so we had a little Q&A just before it. And somebody in the audience said, "Well, we know that you were the Marshmallow Man. What else have you done in your career?" And I had a log jam. I didn't know where to start, didn't know what to say. And I decided that would never happen again. So when I got home, I tore apart my resume and reassembled it in no useful order, but except that it rhymed. And then I sang it and performed it, and I edited a little version of it and put it up. So there are some, like the first line is, "I've been a schmello, been a schweezel, been a bitch in a pit. Chucky wasn't done until I done my bit." Okay, so the schmello, obviously, our good friend Stay Puft. The schweezel, pardon my French, but that's the shit weasel from Dreamcatcher. I puppeteered that in 2002. A bitch in a pit is obviously from Army of Darkness, the pit bitch. Chucky wasn't done until I done my bit was because I did some puppeteering on Child's Play, but I wasn't responsible for the whole thing. It was Kevin Yeager's job, and I was lucky enough to get hired on as a backup puppeteer. So I got to do a few little bits and pieces here, some brows and cheeks, and one moment when Chucky puts a key into a lock and turns it, I was behind that and got it in the first take.
Sweet. I own all those. I love those movies, man.
Well, one of your
yeah.
One of your more proudest, I was watching the video, creations, was that the slug guy? Was that?
Yes, that's true. Yes, there you go. All made out of plastic bags.
Wow.
It's inflated. I welded up that little seat that I was on, and then I sort of invented a way to use plastic bags, and then also invented a bunch of little and built little devices to move, to push and pull. The air would push and the string would pull. And actually, if you look, not that you can really see it, but across the back, there's a series of little blossoming puckers on either side. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, it's tough to see at the back. But these you can almost see it there at the end, and right there down the side, they're puckering and they're coming and going, and they're activating each other. It's kind of fun. There's a string between the ones on either side, so when this one puckers, that one draws in, and when that one, anyway, the one blows out, the other blows in.
God, it looks so. I mean, that looks like a real worm like monster. It really does. Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, the paint job by Mark Killingsworth, by the way. Gotta appropriately give credit there. And the antennae were just inflatable. I mean, just inflated baggy. Actually, I had Bob Newton make a little wheel, a little brass wheel to go on the end of the soldering iron so that I could solder fluidly while doing those the curly antennae on that.
That is cool.
Yeah. Anyway, it was fun, and because you could see inside, I made a little sort of a chicken suit out of fabric, so that it just hid my shape, so I wasn't human shaped inside of there.
Yeah.
And kind of weird wing like shapes on my arms and head. And there were also, coming from above, there were a bunch of little tubes of also baggy that were being inflated from below that were making, actually, take a look at it again. You see at the very...
give me 1 second. Let me go right to it.
Yeah, on the very top. Oh, you notice that the antennae aren't very well inflated, but wait a second, right there. Yeah, they're kind of loose there, but here they are. See how strong they are. But you see around the eye area, you might call it, those shapes were they were puckering and
that's so cool.
And they were also going up and down. There was a little motor inside that was capturing and causing them to bend down and up in order.
Yeah.
But also puckering and coming and going. Anyway, yeah, I was pretty proud of it because I got to do it all.
TJ Game Studios, when you're ready for any questions.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, I got way too many, but I'm gonna try to cut it down. You kind of did mention the pit lady or whatever I got from Army of Darkness. So what other memories do you have on Army of Darkness? Because that is one of my favorites. That whole series is my favorite because there's so many practical effects in there. I mean, I don't even know where to begin.
It was in 19. I guess it was 91, wasn't it? I think.
So it was either late 80s or early 90s.
It was 91. It's all it's filed according to which kid was born when. My youngest, Toby, was born in 91, and I was carving foam for Hook. Remember Robin Williams' Hook?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so. But that was shooting over at the Sony lot, and we were carving over there on, I guess it was MGM at the time. And I was living several miles away, had to go through a lot of traffic, and my wife was 9 months pregnant, about ready to pop. And they said, well, we're going to go from 10-hour days to 12-hour days. And I said, you know what? I've just been offered a little job on a movie called Army of Darkness, and they're working right around the corner from my house. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to bail on this one and go to that one. And he was distraught. He said, I was just going to make you lead sculptor. I said, geez, sorry, but can't do it.
Yeah.
And so instead, I went over to K&B where they had me just cutting out quick foam bones and gluing them onto leotards so that for the background skeletons.
Yeah.
And so I was making a bunch of those, But they also asked me to build a body for the pit bitch head and hands that they had sculpted and cast.
Pit bitch, I love it.
And so, so there I was working on that, and then they said, "Hey, Sam Raimi is on his way over. He's there's this question. We've sculpted and we've made 2 different heads for the witch, the pit witch. One of them's sort of a standard old lady witch kind of a face, and the other is this just like that. Are you okay, Jonathan?
Yeah, I think you scared him. You scared him.
I accidentally dropped my phone. Sorry, I accidentally dropped my phone.
But that's actually how it happened, because while Sam was in the meeting, they asked me to put the suit on just so that he could see what it looked like. And so I'm standing around waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting while they're discussing. Oh, so the problem was that Sam wanted a scare at that moment. He didn't want a laugh. And so he thought that face was just so over the top that it was just going to get a laugh instead of a scare. And so they wanted me to put it on and just let him know how it was going to look. And so while I'm waiting, I said, "Oh, bring me that piece of plywood." They put a piece of plywood down, and I stood on it as if I was a mannequin. And so then when Sam came in from the meeting, I gotched him. And he said, "All right, it's in the movie, and I want him in it." And so that was the audition process. I didn't realize
that is so cool. I thought you were going to go in like during their meetings. They were taking too long and just be like, "Ah!" That's so cool.
Yeah.
That is so great. Oh, what a great story, man. Yeah, Army of Darkness that's just such a. And then you already had talked about Curse of Chucky, which
actually, let me tell you a little bit more. Just a little story about Army of Darkness.
Absolutely.
When I met Bruce Campbell, I was doing some wire work, because I don't know if you remember, the pit bitch tumbles in the air, and so they wanted, they hooked me up. They strapped me into the wire harness and then dragged me up. And I was supposed to just do some flips. Should be easy, right? But they had hooked it a little too high on me. It was caught under my ribs, for one thing. And so my weight was hanging on my ribs, which was painful.
Yeah.
And because it was high and picked high, then the top of my body wasn't heavy enough to overweight my legs, so I couldn't flip. And so I was trying to do it, but Bruce had told me, "Look, if you want to get down, tell them you're gonna throw up, and they'll let you down right away. They don't want to have to clean it up." So so I'm up there and I'm thinking, I wasn't gonna throw up, but I had to get down and realign the thing. So I said, "I'm gonna throw up." And they said, "All right, down you go." and then I said, "I'm not really, but look, you got to drop this and then, drop that." And so they repicked it and dragged me back up, and we got it in two more takes. So, okay, now you were asking about.
No, that is a great story. And Bruce Campbell, fellow Michigander. I'm a Detroiter right here in Detroit, Michigan. Right. So. And it's always funny, like when I think of the Evil Dead like storyline, it's always a Michigan, thing. So that was always really cool,
Yep.
Just extra special. Now you did some stuff for Jackass. Was it Jackass Forever?
Yes.
Was that what did you do on there? I didn't. I got to know this.
Okay, I did some puppeteering. My son and I helped puppeteer in the opening scene. There's sort of a Godzilla-like character marauding a city.
I think I remember that. He had a special. He was. It was quite the tool. I think.
It was a member of the cast.
There, that's what you want to call it.
And it was they called it the Pontiasaurus.
Yes.
Or actually, I was in London signing some autographs at a Comic-Con, and somebody actually came up to me with a picture that he had gone through the effort to track it down and have it printed, and he wanted me to sign an autograph from Coxzilla.
That's a special story, right there. It touches the heart.
So yeah, I've been a Coxzilla, I've been a shitweasel. I mean, come on.
I've been all those.
That is so funny. Oh my god, that is so great.
So
yeah, go
actually, I got the job, and I tried to make a little. Well, actually, there was a little mechanism to so the feet would move and
Yes.
And bounce his let's call them knees up and down as he walked.
His wrinkled knees.
Yes, exactly. And we tried it, but then working from the concept, the effects guy said, "Oh, we can do better," and so they built a stronger, better mechanism, and that's the one that actually ended up working. So my son and I, first I went into Puppeteer, and this character, it had to have its head held up high, because if it held its own head up high, it would be a different rating.
Yeah, you wouldn't. That's so true. Isn't that weird?
And so I was behind it with a string on a stick with a little collar, and my son was standing behind me with two sticks. There were little arms glued to the side of the creature. And y'all be sure to go out and see that movie, kids.
I got to rewatch that part now.
Not rewatching it.
Yeah.
Oh, my one buddy's he's gonna laugh at this. He's gonna oh my god, it's like that's his favorite series of all time. He's got them all on Blu-ray and everything.
Well, I got to tell you something that was kind of exciting. There we are on set, and we're told there's going to be pyro here. There will be little explosions going off around it. So they gave us these Nomex gloves to wear. Meanwhile, the creature itself is not protected. But that's the
seems to be a going thing in that universe.
Exactly, the risk and guarantee of danger. But the pyro was being headed up by Thane Morris, who was in charge of burning Stay Puft, or blowing up Spook Central and the Death Star and other things. So it was kind of cool to get to see Thane again. He told me he only works 3 or 4 jobs a year now. And there's a list. It's got to be. I think it was 4 things. It's got to be fun. It's got to be easy. Let's see. It's got to be high enough level to bother, and there's got to be a bucket load of money.
That's really right. Fun and money. That's what.
All right,
no, I love that. I love that.
Jonathan, let's go out with our final questions. One more for you,
really?
Jonathan.
Did I already use it up?
We're over an hour already.
Oh my God.
So the question is you did the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and you did the Sewer Dragon, and so you're going to do any of the upcoming Ghostbusters sequel in the future?
Actually, I neglected to tell you the other items that I worked on. I helped with fabrication on Slimer, which really, it was a few rings. Actually, whenever you cast something in foam latex, then you need a PowerNet sock to go over the core, so that you have something strong enough to move without tearing, because foam latex isn't a very strong material. And so I made the core socks for Slimer and for the librarian as well. And then when we for puppeteering for the librarian, I made some arm extensions, so that actually there was a piece of bungee inside of the each section, so that and they were rod puppeted. There was a rod coming out here, so when you move that that rod, the whole arm moves, and if you push hard enough, then it stretches the arm so that when she goes at you, you get a little bit of extra there.
Yeah.
And then actually,
cool.
Slimer's teeth, Slimer is such a floppy thing that the skull and the teeth are pretty much all that keeps the head from collapsing. You've seen old men with no teeth, and they kind of flatten out like that, right? So, but they wanted a couple of different looks, because if you look at the original Ghostbusters, there are a couple of different depths to the teeth, and so I put Velcro on them so that they could go in and out, and so that was another task. And I made finger extensions for the hands, so that because Slimer's fingers are longer than Kevin's.
When he was grabbing those the Cheetos off the floor.
Wow.
That was cool. What a fun! That was a fun looking practical effect too, because right when the reveal of his eyes kind of like, and then whoa, like so. I love it. I love anything with that. You know?
That was a great question, Jonathan.
Oh, that's another one I'll have to post. There was a little test of Slimer coming out of the garbage on a table, but you could still see Kevin's face inside his mouth, because we hadn't made that.
So great.
But it's just for a
so cool. Let's go to DJ Game Studios. Do you have a good question?
Yeah, I was. What was the other thing I was going to ask? I did the. Oh, this was going back on the Stay Puft costume. I forgot. So on the effect when he's getting shot and it's showing the front, and he's kind of going back like in pain, and the face kind of contorts, kind of like that. And also, I guess it would probably be the same effect they use for when he gets to the top and sees what they're doing, and that is surprised, like, oh. Now, I always thought that was either stop motion claymation or animatronics. Which one was it?
It was animatronics. There was inside of the head.
Yeah.
There was a fiberglass skull, and it was cut halfway through so that as it separated, it stretched the head. There was also a metal loop that when it was turned, it would go from ooh to ah, like that.
Yeah, which was great.
And the brows. Let's see, there were little cables inside here that dragged up on the brow in order to wrinkle the forehead. Steve Neal did a bunch of that stuff. Let's see. So, there was at the top of the roof. No, actually, it's the climbing. Now that I remember, as it's climbing up and the fireball comes towards you, there was a 1.5 sized body, so that it was wider. There was a double-sized hand and a 1.5 sized hand, so that you would get this forced perspective.
Right.
It's really close to you. It's coming at you.
Yeah.
And let's see what else. Anyway, so that was a puppet actually set up on C stands, century stands.
Right.
Okay.
That's cool.
And I guess I think the arms were a little parallelogram mechanism so that it could do that. And burn.
That was unbelievable. Like how, and once again, that's why I just applaud practical effects in movies, in big movies like that, and in Frozen Empire and stuff like that. When they do practical effects, it's like I said, that almost looks like I could have thought that was like, I mean, I know that was 84, but I was like, is that stop motion? How'd they make it look so real? Like his expressions, and once again, practical effects wins it out. So,
yeah.
Anyways, that's all I got. I appreciate your time. This was awesome. I'll turn it over to them. So awesome.
Pleasure. Well, we're both thrilled. So happy to see you.
Awesome. I had a quick one just to
Love it.
Yeah.
remind is anything you can reveal to us? What's next for you?
Well, I mean, I can't reveal it, but I don't know if you saw Heidi Klum's last, actually, her worm costume a couple of Halloweens ago. No? Oh, Google it. Google Heidi Klum worm.
No, I gotta
You'll be
see
surprised. And whatever it is that she's doing next, I'll be able to tell you about next year.
For sure.
After
Oh
Halloween.
wow, that looks like a night crawler, and the face.
So reveal later.
Wow, that is very
Did you-
cool. I just looked at
Did
it.
you get any chances within the first film from '84 even to let's see, Frozen Empire? Did you get a chance to meet any of the original cast, or just you didn't get enough?
Well, if you think about it, there was no reason for us to be in the same room at the same time, actually, unfortunately. But in 2016, again, because of the After the Cult movie.
Answer the call. Yeah.
We made one more Stay Puft suit for the Jimmy Kimmel show for Guillermo to wear. Because they were going to have, they had the boys and the girls on that show that day. And so I arranged with the costume designer that I would get to meet Bill Murray that day. And so I did. It was nice. It was fun. I wrote a little song about it. Do you remember? There was a song called "I've Never Been to Spain." It was by Horace Jackson, and the Three Dog Night sang it. And I was in a bar once, and somebody asked me, "Did you ever meet Sigourney?" And I said, "Well, I never met Sigourney, but I did meet Ernie Hudson." And I thought, wait a second, that's got the same rhythm as I've Never Been to Spain, but I kind of like the music. And so by the time I got home, I had the whole thing. Well, here, ready? I never met Sigourney, but I did meet Ernie Hudson. I told Ivan I was Stay Puft. In effect, he said, "So what, son?" Between "So what, son" and Ernie Hudson, I'll take Hudson. I met Murray doing Kimmel. Didn't turn out like I hoped for. We were supposed to be best friends now, but he never got the memo. Doing Kimmel, got no memo, not best friends now. Aykroyd don't know me from Adam, but I got to play his icon. Maybe someday selling vodka, I will get to tell him thank you. Selling vodka, I'll say thank you. Wish I had met HERNANDEZ because he held it all together. Though the others were more famous, his reality was better. Harold Ramis, now he's famous, he was better. We were, let's see, what was it? We were in a film together, but in different locations. Never got to bond as castmates, but we shared in its creation. If they have a big reunion, I hope I get an invitation. Ta-da!
I want the Billy Bryan album now. So now we're going to have to get you on Spotify and have you release like some of these songs.
Actually, also did a parody of Piano Man. Sing to us, Mr. Marshmallow Man. Yeah. And the last verse goes, Simon and Joel sent a cease and desist, and they said when I asked what was wrong, it's as if Weird Al dressed in a Stay Puft suit and proceeded to ruin our song.
Love it. Love it.
Awesome. Let's Jonathan, any final statements? No questions. Just kind of, if you want to say thank you, say it now. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Well, I just like to say thank you, Billy, and it was an honor to meet you. And I'm always being the Ghostbusters fan, and I always support that movie. I always like the first, second, third, and the fourth was the best movie. What I loved.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I really appreciate you too.
It's nice to meet you too, Jonathan, and you too, Chuck.
It's nice.
And
yes, it was great talking with you.
And Chronoz.
Thanks so much.
A real pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for. Oh, did you want to final say your thank you to DJC Game Studios?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, this has been great, man. I can't wait to see what you're gonna do next. You just a very creative guy, and I love your effects. So thank you for
very
letting
much.
us talk with
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
And thank you again for this opportunity. It's good to see the backbone, the backstory, because of you guys and your creations and everything you do. It behind stage is what brings everything to life, and we appreciate you. Thank you again for the opportunity, for the wonderful experience to hear your amazing stories, and thank you so much. And we're gonna close out with the outro, and at that time, you guys either stick around or exit out from right when the outro starts. So other than that, thank you guys for joining the Chronoz Show. Thank you, John, for jumping in, for DJC as well, and for those who came and watched the great experience we had with Billy Bryan. Thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity.
Thanks for the offer.
See you guys.
Take
Also
care,
next time.
Till next time.
Till next time.
And who you gonna call?
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Try to make your dreams come true, because if you don't, you certainly won't. And if you do, you just might. Keep your dreams exciting. Keep them interesting. Keep them... Try to make them different. Try to make sure that your dreams aren't the same as everybody else's dreams. If you're dreaming what somebody else already dreamed, why bother? Dream something special for yourself. And don't give up.